Biodiversity hypothesis means that if the body does not receive enough microbial exposure, the ability of the immune system to control excesses is impaired. During the last decades, an increasing amount of scientific evidence points out to the direction that the biodiversity that is invisible, the so-called microbial biodiversity, affects our health and modulates our immune system. Immune system has two main functions. It protects us from hazardous agents, most pathogenic viruses, bacteria and other microbes. And it distinguishes pathogenic agents from our own cells and proteins and harmless materials such as different food compounds, pollen and pet scarf. The immune system can recognize also these harmless compounds, but such responses are kept in control by immune regulation. If this regulation fails, the immune system starts to react against harmless targets, for example pollen in allergies or our own cells in autoimmune diseases. Examples of the latter include type 1 diabetes, celiac disease and rheumatoid arthritis. There are over 100 such autoimmune diseases. The incidence of immune-mediated diseases is currently increasing alarmingly, especially in developed countries, but also in developing countries. So what is creating this epidemic? There must be something wrong in the education and maturation of immune system. And there is a hypothesis. In the first year of life, we are currently lacking the proper teachers for our immune system. The incidence of immune-mediated diseases has increased incidentally heavy urbanization and increasing areas of asphalt preventing contacts to the natural biodiversity. Transferring our foods from ones done from natural ingredients to processed ones, and increasingly clean indoor environment. These all actually mean lower biodiversity around us. The hypothesis that low biodiversity in our everyday living environment increases the risk of allergies, atopy and other immune-mediated diseases is called the biodiversity hypothesis. There is strong scientific evidence supporting this hypothesis. We have studied over 30 years the association with microbes and immune-mediated diseases. First, we focused on the bad guys, those that directly cause these diseases, but when we did a comparative study between Finland and Russian Karelia, we found something very interesting. The hygiene level was way lower in Karelia than in Finland, and the Karelian children suffered from many pathogens more often than Finnish children. But Karelian children had much less immune-mediated diseases, including type 1 diabetes, celiac disease, allergic diseases, and thyroid autoimmunity disorder. Such similar inverted association has also been confirmed between former East and West Germany and highly developed and underdeveloped societies. The second arm of our evidence comes from the studies conducted by adjunct professor Aki Sinkkonen, who has for years studied the ecology of environmental microbes, especially soil microbes. He found that bacterial biodiversity in many urban soils is several magnitudes lower than the natural soils, such as forest floor, and that toxins and heavy metals typical for urban soils change the microbial community in urban soils. It was then a fusion of these two study lines which gave birth to the revolutionary idea that we could actively bring highly divergent soil microbes to the everyday life of urban dwellers to improve their microbiota balance and immune health. This led to the number of in vitro and in vivo studies that were conducted in Adele Research Initiative. These studies showed that the idea is feasible. We produced a powder from soil-based extract and studied its effects on immune system in cell models and in clinical studies. This powder had immunomodulatory effects on immune cells, which downregulate inflammatory type responses typical for many immune-mediated diseases. Even the inactivated autoclave powder had such effects. In clinical studies, the powder changed the microbiota and the immunological profile of the study participants. As a summary, the studies carried out with our microbe extract so far have generated promising results in terms of changes in microbiota and effects on immune system with negligible side effects like coloring of the hands in some individuals when raw powder was rubbed several times per day to the hands.